We've all seen a wildfire wreaking havoc on everything in its path. It will continue to grow and cause destruction until someone or something steps in to fix it. The book of 1 Kings is very similar. David is king at the beginning of the book, but he is about to die. After him, Solomon, David's son, takes over. He builds the temple, but then he begins to make poor decisions. Almost every single king after him gets worse. They increasingly bring in idol worship and turn away from God, until finally we get to King Ahab, the worst king of all. Much of King Ahab's wickedness is due to his evil wife, Queen Jezebel. Here is a quick overview of this woman. Jezebel was the daughter of the Phoenician king, Ethbaal. She married King Ahab, the seventh king of Israel, which made her the queen. Jezebel was a devout worshiper of Baal, a false god of fertility and rain. She was an idol worshiper who was influential, powerful, and wicked. 1 Kings 21 verse 25 discusses King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. It says, "There was never anyone like Ahab, who sold himself to do evil in the eyes of the Lord," urged on by Jezebel, his wife. King Ahab is certainly responsible for his own sins, but it was Jezebel who led him down a dark path. Jezebel was a pagan woman. She hated the God of Israel and was devoted to killing his prophets. In 1 Kings 18 verse 4, the Bible says, "While Jezebel was killing off the Lord's prophets, Obadiah had taken 100 prophets and hidden them in 2 caves, 50 in each, and had supplied them with food and water." The Bible explicitly names Jezebel as the killer of the Lord's prophets, not King Ahab. Similarly, in 1 Kings 18 verse 19, the Bible says, "Now summon the people from all over Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, and bring the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah, who eat at Jezebel's table." The prophets of Asherah who ate at whose table? Queen Jezebel, not King Ahab. The evil spirit of Jezebel is clear in the Bible. She was a wicked manipulator focused on control and inciting her husband to do evil. If King Ahab ever displayed any signs of repenting and following the ways of God, Queen Jezebel intervened and destroyed any chance of hope. The most well-known example of this is the story of Naboth's vineyard in 1 Kings 21. In this chapter, there was a vineyard owned by a man named Naboth. King Ahab wanted the vineyard for himself as it was close to his palace, and he wanted to plant a vegetable garden there. But Naboth refused to sell his vineyard as it belonged to his family. This upset King Ahab, and he went back to the palace to mourn. Queen Jezebel decided to take matters into her own hands. She sent letters posing as King Ahab and arranged for people to accuse Naboth, a righteous man, of cursing God and the king, and she had him stoned to death and stole his vineyard. While King Ahab did not kill Naboth himself, he gladly took his vineyard after his wife informed him of Naboth's death. King Ahab did not reject taking the vineyard, nor did he have his wife punished for her evil deed. Instead, he gave in to his sinful desires. Ahab was simply a puppet of the evil queen Jezebel. Jezebel's end was prophesied by Elijah shortly after, when Elijah went to see King Ahab in his newly acquired vineyard. Elijah tells King Ahab that he has sold himself to do evil in the eyes of the Lord, and he tells the king that disaster will come upon him and his descendants. And most notably, he says Jezebel will be devoured by dogs in the city. In 2 Kings 9, Jezebel is killed just as Elijah prophesied. However, the story of King Ahab and Jezebel lives on in the Bible and in the behavior and actions of the people around us. When we surround ourselves with evil people, it increases the likelihood that we will also make evil decisions. Often their influence and manipulation will cause us to engage in evil as well. 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14 says, "Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness?" At the root of Jezebel's evil spirit is control and manipulation. These traits have no gender preference. Both men and women can fall victim to these sins. Greed, hunger for power, and manipulation are often to blame for conflict and tragedy. The Bible instructs men to love their wives, not control them, as women are to respect their husbands, not manipulate them. One criticism non-Christians often use is control. They say God is controlling, But let me ask you, does God control you? Does God make you do anything? Does He force you to submit to His will? Does He make you love Him and serve Him? God does not force us to do anything. He wants us to be saved, but He does not force us. Jesus will knock at the door, but He will not force us to open it. God's authority is unmatched, but He does not force us into His kingdom. He has given us all free will. Jezebel believed she had the ultimate authority as queen. She taunted and massacred God's prophets. She ruthlessly ruled over the people of Israel, and even her husband, King Ahab. This selfish behavior is seen throughout our lives every day. Be on guard and ensure you do not fall into this selfish lifestyle. While Jezebel got what she wanted as queen, she ultimately had no authority or control over her own demise. King Ahab and Queen Jezebel are a perfect example of how power and status does not mean you are doing the right things in the eyes of the Lord. Jezebel had the power to murder Naboth and many others with no consequences. She had hundreds of prophets at her table. They ruled the kingdom of Israel. However, these are not the things God values. Jesus reminds us, "The first will be last, and the last shall be first." Like a raging wildfire, someone must intervene to stop the chaos and destruction. Queen Jezebel eventually gets the death that Elijah prophesied would come. But it would not be the book of Kings where the ultimate resolution would arrive, but hundreds of years later in Jesus Christ, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. The evil of Jezebel is no match for the Spirit of our God. The resolution to the chaos and destruction is available to all who are willing to accept it, to all who are willing to accept Jesus Christ. Thank you for watching. Tell us what you think of this episode in the comment section. We like to learn from you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. God bless you.